Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. At least I hope it's happy Wednesday, wherever you are, if it's the morning or the afternoon or the evening. It's a really good time to gather. I'm always guided to do whatever topics, but this one is something I have really wanted to teach for a while and help everybody understand that first 3 weeks after your beloved companion passes. It's such a powerful and intense time, and so lots of things. You'll have tons of emotions, and they'll be really high, and they'll be wavy, and then you can feel numb, and then also feel completely overwhelmed by all your emotions. So it's really a time to pay attention to, even as you're going through the steps of grief and however that journey looks for you. I always share, when there's a death of any kind, it tears the web of our reality, meaning it shifts our normal everyday waking kind of routine, and we get disoriented. It's almost like a surreal time, but it definitely serves as a portal, and it's helpful to understand it and understand what you may have experienced if you're not in grief right now, or you may be currently going through and have fresh grief. But it's helpful to understand the first 3 weeks after a passing. Quite a powerful time, incredibly powerful. And so if we think about the things that we go through with this right after, the emotions that are so heavy in the grief might be regret, and there might be anger, and all of those, like, gut-wrenching, heartbreaking kind of things we feel. But also, the veil is very thin during that time, very thin. And it serves to spiritually move us forward without really us realizing it. And, I don't think, we're taught that. We just get thrown into the spin cycle of the passing, and it takes our senses away from us. So just know that it's a portal that you go through, and when your pet transitions and goes through that threshold, you do as well, energetically. So you shift, and I would call it a spiritual window, for lack of a better description. So I'm wondering, as you're thinking about this, and if you drop a note in the chat, has it been just an emotional period for you, or have you felt things that you haven't thought about in years? Maybe have you had some experiences that have opened you up during this time? Have you journaled? What have you done? Have you been numb and walked around without even realizing you're in your life? It's kind of like that soul shock is it's almost like watching our lives from a distance and seeing everything go on around us, and we're not actually in it participating, almost like we're a ghost watching our own life. And so it can be a really strange time. And I think it's really important when we are in, especially the first 3 weeks, to anchor ourselves, because really your spirit pops out of your body, and it's really important to ground during this time. And I'm wondering, what kind of things do you do to ground you? What have you done after your beloved companion has passed? Have you held their blanket or held their collar, or what have you done? Oh, Carol, very emotional time for me, crying lots. Yes, and those tears have to come, and it's yeah, I understand, it's knee buckling. But I'm really glad you're here. And I think today will help. So hang on. Physical heartbreak, Deanna says, feeling that ties into past heartbreak. Absolutely. Because what's within is any unresolved emotions. Absolutely, they come flooding back. And the reason they come flooding back is because they're trying to release. They're actually trying to release out. And it can be very overwhelming to have all of those at one time. November 4th, Carol, that's very, very recent. I'm so sorry. So we're rounding almost a month. But I'm really, really glad you're here. It's been, let's see, Terrace, it's been 2.5 years since I lost my soul dog, Dobby. I'm still broken. I beg him every night to come see me. I hug a cushion with his picture every night. Do you feel him there? I'm curious. It's funny because I have a client that had a picture on a pillow like that, and she took that pillow everywhere. It's really, really, really important to I don't know, it's like arm floaties, or bumper pads. We kind of need to make sure we're not just fading off, almost like we're untethered. So let's talk about some ways to do that and grounding. And Sammy, hey, I have no idea why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm typing this as I'm sitting inside an aircraft waiting for it to take off after business travel, going back home. It's 10:30 p.m. here. Well, I'm glad you're here. You must be guided too, so I'm really glad you commented. And Cindy, it's good to see you. We remember walking around numbly after our last loss of our dog, Karma. We stopped at stores because we were not ready to go home yet. Doesn't everything seem like it's in slow motion after that? It's weird. It's like time is suspended, or we're watching things and everything looks normal on the outside, but everything has shifted on an inner level for us, and that's where our experiences live, is on the inner level. Lost my boy on the 23rd September, Tuesday, due to work pressures. I've barely had time to grieve over the last 4 odd weeks. All of it seems subconsciously suppressed so that I can function every day. It's interesting because the barely having enough time to grieve, I get that. And, it's when we actually sit down and it hits us. So I think that's part of the soul shock of cushioning you from, the full impact, and also getting slowly but surely adjusted to this new reality. And that's the other thing. We have to, the cushion is my link to him, even though I feel he's deserted me. I'm really glad you have that. And, I don't have time, but we could work on that. Do you really, really feel like he's deserted you? I'm just curious. And I'm wondering if you could reframe that in any way, because I think underneath, I feel like he's deserted me are some emotions that want to come forward. But that's a strong feeling, desertion. And Coco, I love you, Coco, my beautiful soul dog. Thank you for showing me unconditional love. Thank you, Tami. You know what? We're all in this together, and I appreciate you coming. So when we go through the first 3 weeks, it's really, really, really important to anchor yourself. As I talked about, move your energy. It's so important to let the energy flow and not just get stuck. If you walk, or you walk around the house, or you go outside, just little things that you can do every day to practice. Go outside and breathe fresh air. Do something like at the same time every day, like even drink a cup of tea. And while you're drinking the cup of tea, be really mindful and hold the space for your beloved to join you there. So I'm trying to think, what else do you do as you have moved through the weeks of a passing? Do you withdraw? Do you sleep less? Or have you slept less? Have you slept more? What are the things that you've discovered about yourself that you could share that would help others that could relate to what you're experiencing? Jenny says, it's been 23 months since I lost Winnie. My life turned upside down, totally devastated. For the first time in my life, I felt death wasn't the end, that there must be more. So here I am. I love that. And absolutely, it's a spiritual journey. It is our animals guide us on our spiritual paths, and it's including when they pass, just as when they came in. And a lot of people don't understand that. So thank you for being here. I'm really, really glad. And it's not the end. And you keep that connection. It's all about intention, really, and a willingness to understand deeper, on a deeper level. And if you go into your heart, and I always tell people, go into your heart and see if you can find your baby in your heart. And people will go in and close their eyes and they'll be like, yeah, they're there. Well, try to not find them. Try to catch them not being there. You can't do it. So that's a small little mini practice that you can actually do that helps keep us flexible and open and not constricted and shut down, because that's the other kind of slippery slope, is to not get closed down. Some of you are saying, I've definitely slept more, have not wanted to wake up in the morning to face this reality. Understood. What about any of you with not eating well? What are the physical things you've been going through? Carol says she sleeps less and withdraw. I think it's a time where we almost just can't take the stimulation, too much stimulation. And then if you have people around you that maybe don't understand what you're going through, that makes you feel more isolated and very alone, actually, very alone. Sammy, I have also self-isolated and withdrawn, avoided conversation with people, avoided socializing. Well, it's like a cocoon. I mean, honestly, that first 3 weeks especially, it is a cocooning kind of time. And it's because you're energetically being reworked. And it's forced soul growth, basically. I don't know any of us would open the door and say, yes, let's have this happen. So it really, it's so important to even do, I talked about exercising or walking, but even mundane chores, even vacuuming, washing dishes, doing something that's normal, that doesn't require a lot of your attention and you can just do it kind of routinely, is super, super helpful. Sammy says, have eaten only as much as needed. I haven't wanted good food taste, just eating for the sake of existing. It's a journey. And so just know that honor where you are and surround yourself with people and animals who can be compassionate witnesses. And that means you can share your story of loss and pain, and they hold the space for that. Animals also have their stories. Same. Tara says, yes. No appetite, Carol says. Well, we just have to take a deep breath and realize that we are where we are. And, we're spiritually being reworked. Our bodies are channeling that grief and energy. And so it could really change things in a lot of ways. So what kind of things are you doing? I will vacuum. So, that's something I don't have to think about, or go outside, something that nourishes you on an inner level. Hey, Susie, as you know, when I lost my soul dogs, I was shattered to the core. I opened my heart and waited for them to send me a new fur baby. They knew I needed Thankfully, it happened very soon after they crossed over. Thanking my girls, um, Baby and Bella, for sending me Rudy and Stella. It helped heal my broken heart. I know their souls return to me in many ways. Love you, Tami. You've guided me through it all. It's only because I think I've lived anything I teach, I've lived. And I learned about this soul shock from direct experience. And human family members passing and suddenly and tragically, and animals, throughout the years, and the ones that have come and passed. And I would watch, I would feel in that 3-week period that, I don't know, it felt gauzy. It's the way to describe it. It feels wavy, surreal. You're walking around, you don't kind of know where you are. But what also is in that space is many, many gifts that you don't even realize are there, that are, there along with all the other things. So I wanted to, hang on, I got a person or a dog that wants to be up here. So I've got a few things to share with you about the gifts, so we can kind of anchor that in. I've got a slide or two. So if you could put slide number 1 with the gifts. So there are secret gifts. And anytime you go forward with this and you have this happen, start looking for the gifts. Immediately start looking for the gifts. So the soul shock is protection. And what that means is, again, speaking of bumper pads, it's almost like you're cushioned from feeling the full weight of the shock. And that is as it's needed, because the soul shock is the tear in the reality that is seemingly so disoriented, but it has a purpose and is actually trying to help you. Let's see, Diane says, doing a lot of walking and listening to pet grief videos on YouTube, which is where I found you. I'm really glad you're here. And it's super helpful when we can share what we're doing and how we do it, because sometimes you don't realize that, other people are going through what you're going through too. So how would you all describe soul shock? I'm curious. If someone were to ask you, what is that? I don't understand what that is. What would you personally say for yourself? If you would, put it in the comments, because I'm curious as to how you all will describe it. And we'll see how much that we're probably all saying the same things. Winterberry time. I haven't been outside. Let's see, thank you. I haven't been outside to not see my girl, Cami. I finally sat outside. My wild birds are missing. It's like they left because she's gone. I'm not there. Now I miss my wild birds. Well, you can set the intention for them to return, and then send it out through your heart. That might help. So, okay, some soul shock, numbness, disorienting. It is disorienting, like a dream state. Yes, very much so. Numb and empty. Soul shock, shattered to the core, heartbreak, denial. Yes, empty. We're all tracking, you're all tracking along and with saying, similar things. Feeling like dying, it's still being alive is how I see soul shock. That's a powerful statement. Yes. But it's because a part of us, it's like we've lost a part of ourselves because they filled our life in such a wonderful way that, when we feel like we don't have them anymore, our system is pacing the pain. Nothing seems to make me happy anymore, I hear. My brain shut down, Susan. but you found yourself being here. So we're not completely shut down, or you wouldn't be here, number one. Number two, your animal guided you here. So it's really good that even as we feel all these high value, kind of like power punching emotions, that we can also share our feelings and thoughts with one another. Oh, and Debbie says, can't find any joy. And if you would, let's go to the next gift. So grief is pure love. And I know it gets has a bad reputation, but honestly, it is pure love. Your love hasn't ended. It's, those tears, it's like undiluted love rising to the surface, and it's just looking for another way to flow. So just remember that when you're feeling the grief, remind yourself that grief is pure love, and you wouldn't be experiencing it unless you truly, truly loved. And then the third gift is the veil is very thin. The veil is very thin. What do I mean by that? It's like between worlds. You're in between worlds. And so during this time, you can have signs, dreams, you can hear whispers, you have a lot of knowings come in. That potent 3 weeks is so rich with all kinds of information that you don't even realize is available to you. So that's natural part of the portal window. So think about it as you've gone through this first 3 weeks as the spirit transform, adjusts into spirit, because after that 3 weeks, it's like life starts again. And this cocoon of a time is where you might get insights. You might understand why your pet is in your life, what the soul contract was. What have you discovered? Have you had any sightings? And if you haven't, that's fine. It's not like we can go look for them and they come. It's not like spirit on demand, but you are very open, and it's a great time to journal. And Diane says, I keep looking for signs, but haven't seen any directly. My niece has. I would. So I keep looking for signs, but hadn't seen any directly. So I would ask to be shown a sign that you can't miss, and then let it go. Just let it go and see what pops up. I'm reading these, hard to be at work, and now I have to go back in. Been two was since I lost my support beagle of 8 years. We're together 24/7. The pain is unbearable. I don't know how to go on. It's really, really hard. And it's a tough journey. 2 weeks for you. Usually it's an interesting time, the 3 week period of where we're in this like open space to get information, and then it gets quieter and quieter. So you want to make sure you're really approaching this time very tenderly and doing as much journaling as you can. And so gift number 4, if we can, there we go, is redirection and reorientation. So all of the soul shock and the grief and the veil being very thin is redirecting you spiritually. It's redirecting you on a personal level. It's changing who you are. So I'd like to share. Let me think. I've got a guest I want to bring on. You're really going to appreciate her. And I'd like to maybe with her do, I've got 3 tiny little practices that you can take with you and use to remind yourself how connected you really are. So I want to bring on Monica, and she's got an amazing story. Hello.
Hi,
I'm glad you're here.
thank you for having me.
So, for you all, Monica and I had a session, and her dog Maggie came through. And it was interesting because while we were talking, Monica brought up that those first 3 weeks were very luminous and so many different things happened. And I just knew Spirit was like, you've got to share this with everybody. So I'm really, really glad you're here. So tell us, give us some backstory a little bit on Maggie.
So, Maggie was my soul dog. In fact, she's the only pet I ever owned as an adult. And I had her for about 8.5 years. I had been looking for a dog for like 5 years. And I finally found her, and I have a cute story about how she was everything I never knew I wanted. She was sweet, she was kind, she was quiet, she was shy. Everybody that knew her instantly fell in love with her.
Mm.
She was just great. She was just great. She passed on September 26th, so a few months ago.
And the grief, has it changed form since she left?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think when I talk deeply about her like this, it'll come back, but um, I went through a pretty intense journey the first 3 weeks. You and I had talked about where a lot of that shifted. So I tell people there was Monica September 25th, and then there's Monica after September 26th. I just got completely rearranged. And I think now uh, all the pieces are coming back together, but they're just reconfigured in a completely different way. I see the world differently. I feel differently. Um, yeah, so it's still there, but it's in a helpful way rather than a shocking way, I would say.
Do you feel like you've been reorganized from the inside out?
Completely. Not just me, I think my life, everything. Yeah.
So, what did you like? Tell me about or tell us about the intense 3 weeks and what that felt like, what that looked like for you.
So the what it felt like was walking through fog, not feeling real. Everything felt different. Light felt different, air felt different, my body felt different. I didn't feel like I was in my body a lot of the time. Noise felt different. I stopped eating. I would usually go to sleep about 10 or 11. I started going to sleep at like 7, sleep for hours on end. I couldn't stand to be home because we were homebodies. So I would do everything that I could to wake up and leave the house. And if I had to be in the office for work, I'd come home, change my shoes, and leave the house again. I was like really slow. Everything was, I just remember the light feeling very different.
Mm.
Um, so that was the the more physical part of it. I also, but in the same time, it was like very, I think you had mentioned it, very luminous. Like I started, it was like, how could I put this? It was like having scales drop from my eyes and everything, while my physical human personality was kind of on ice and going through all that fog, like this spiritual sense of me, like I was able to see things that, and I mean, normal things, but like I was able to see the miracle of love and life. It was a really interesting blend of heartbreak and love at the same time. And I think what I learned about it is that how you said grief is love, that was a really big lesson for me, that there was so much love in that grief. And if I was open to it, I could see it all around me in signs that were there. And not because I was looking for them or asked for them, but I think my brain was so shut off, I couldn't help but like see the miracles in front of me that I think I just miss on everyday basis. Um, but that veil was so thin, it felt like being in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And I realized like the divine has gifts for us all the time, even like right now. It's just that I'm busy, working, washing the dishes, whatever. But during that grief, I was in such soul shock that it was like I could see it. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, yeah, beautifully stated. And how did she, you said that she came into your life, but you weren't really looking for her in that particular body.
no, absolutely. So I knew I wanted what breed of dog I wanted, but I wanted a male, and I wanted any color except black and white, and I wanted it petite. And as soon as I saw her on the rescue website, I was like, that's my dog. Even though my brain had been checkboxing every other dog that I had seen, this one was very intuitive. And when I went to go see her and pick her up, she was a she. She was long bodied and she was the exact color I didn't want, but she was the perfect dog. She was my everything. So
I'd love for you to see her, everybody. So if we could put up a photo or two of Maggie so she can make an appearance. Tell me about this photo. What was happening?
this is her perpetual look, or was her perpetual look. Sleeping was her avocation, her vocation, her hobby, her purpose in life. And but every time I'd walk by, she would just turn around and look at me. Uh, she just wanted to be in connection. Yeah, see what was going on.
Powerful connection, and
Yeah,
the audience is such a lovely story. Um, do you have time to read the little writing you did about that? Okay,
yeah.
I wanted to share that with everybody.
Yeah, so this is something that I wrote for a writing class, and the intent of it was to have a kind of in the middle a reveal. You guys know what the reveal is, but I think you'll still enjoy it. So I'll read it for you here. When I saw her picture online, I thought she might be the one I was looking for, waiting for, really. I'd been looking for so many years, scouring site after site, it became a running joke with my friends. Monica, stop being so picky. Just take a chance already, said one. I think you like the idea of this more than the reality. You like to look, but you aren't ready to commit, said another. Wait, are you still looking? It's been like 5 years. I can't believe you haven't found the one, said a distant friend when we happened to run into each other after a couple of years. But was she the one? That was a significant decision. I had to be sure. She might be the one, but I had some questions. So I called a guy who knew her. She'd been crashing at his place. So tell me about her. Tell me about her. What's her personality like? I asked. She's sweet, but I barely gotten to know her. Is she friendly? How is she around people? Oh, she seems sweet, but she's a little shy and withdrawn right now. It makes sense given her recent past. Oh my God, what past is he talking about? I mean, I know everybody has a past, but how bad is it? Was it something I wanted to take on? Patiently, he answered all my questions that Tuesday and on Wednesday when I called back because I had more. And again on Thursday when I just wanted to confirm some information. Just come over and meet her tomorrow. That'll tell you more about her than me answering your question. You'll get a sense of the chemistry, he said. I didn't blame him. He'd been generous enough with his time. I was still unsure. This was going to change my life, but I knew I'd been stalling and my time was over, so I agreed. But before committing to meet her, I got up the nerve to finally ask my deal breaker question, knowing the answer could dash my hopes. So up until now, you think it's about somebody I'm dating, right? Is she potty trained? Does she have separation anxiety? All night, I was still watching a boxing match between my head and my heart. I wanted her, but I had to be absolutely sure. I had to be as practical as possible about whether this is the right thing for me. So I did the most logical thing. I called my psychic. She said, yes, this is the dog that was absolutely right one for me. But you can't count on psychics for such things, I told myself. So I gave myself an out. I would go and see her, but I wouldn't have to take her. I was just buying time. On my way to the foster's place, I somehow found my car driving to the Petco, and somehow I walked out of there with $500 worth of dog basics. I can return it if it doesn't work out, I told myself. I had an out. I was still so undecided. When I got there, I realized she was the complete opposite of everything I was looking for. I wanted a male, so I was surprised I even came to see her. I said I would take any color except black and white, and although her picture had a little auburn fur under her chin, to my shock, she was black and white. Lastly, I wanted a dog with a short body, like most Shih Tzus, but she was clearly a mixed breed with a comically long body. My mind was swirling with ambivalence. She couldn't be the one. She doesn't check the box. Why am I here? Why am I petting her? Maggie walked her impossibly slow walk back towards her crate after I gave her a couple of more pets. She seemed more ambivalent than I was. She was quiet and shy, and she looked like she'd given up on life. Is this what I wanted to sign up for? So do you want her? The foster said, because if you don't worry about it. She'll go to the adoption fair tomorrow and she'll get adopted for sure. At that moment, as has happened in key moments in my life, my heart gave my mind a smackdown, pushed it aside, and took control. I'll take her, I heard myself say. The guy kept talking about who knows what as I filled out the paperwork and wrote the check for my donation. I couldn't hear anything as my mind internally screamed protest until it worked itself into silent exhaustion, like a wicked witch of the east melting underwater. When the noise in my head stopped, I looked down and saw the most beautiful eyes looking at me. I felt like they were saying, I'm glad you finally found me, Mom. I'm not even mad at how long you took. My heart felt like it had found the key that had finally opened it up. Logic could take a hike. She was the one. Come on, Maggie, I said. Let's go home.
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Powerful, powerful story. And a powerful soul. But the two of you were absolutely so matched. And throughout your life with her, what did she teach you?
She taught me unconditional love. She taught me more than that, I would say unconditional acceptance, peace, that everything's always okay, that you need very little and less to be happy and at peace and belong.
Mm-hmm. She's very pleased that you have received the lessons and received the gifts. She said she taught you a lot and trained you, actually.
She was a really good teacher. She's still teaching me.
Absolutely. So after she passed and you went into this, like walking through fog, Katerina says, such a brave lady. Thank you, Monica. No, it hurts. And you know, we could all feel Maggie, you know, with all of us. She guided us all together today. So she's like the star of the show for sure.
Love
it. So after that, after she passed and you were in this space, what kind of things in that luminous space, can you describe things that happened during that 3-week period?
Yeah. We were homebodies, so I almost never went out, but I couldn't stand to be at home. So I started just walking everywhere. And because I had been listening to you and just listening to my heart and really my logical mind, the one that I talked about in my essay, like it was so shut down that all I could see was from the heart. So songs would come up and they'd have the exact right lyrics that she was talking to me. I would see pine cones where they shouldn't be. I would run into people. I think that was the biggest gift that happened is I saw, just like in this community, how much love there is out in the world and how much people really want to support and be kind about loss. They understand. And every day there was somebody who crossed my path that and most of these people I didn't know that were just so giving with their heart. And I think it was Maggie continuing to teach me love is there all the time.
Beautifully said. And didn't you have, and Deanna, she's teaching us also, thank you, she's saying, didn't you have a profound experience with somebody?
Yeah.
Share that?
Yes. Yeah, I'd love to. So I live in an area that there's a large Russian immigrant population, and there's this man who owns a beautiful white lab, and he walks them all the time. And I know he doesn't speak English, and this guy, is a tough guy. He's probably about 6'4", Caesar haircut, ruddy complexion, piercing blue eyes, really wiry, always wears the same black shirt and khaki shorts. And tough guy. I can tell that he's probably ended and won a lot of arguments with his fists back in his days, just tough guy. And we would circle each other as he walked his dog and I walked Maggie for years. And I thought I finally won a small victory when he actually would acknowledge me by going like that. And he was always with his cigarette and his dog, and he would just when Maggie passed away, I had kind of shared with everybody in the neighborhood who was also pet parents, and I hadn't seen this guy whose name I don't know. Um, and I saw him walking towards me maybe about 10 days after Maggie had passed. And, this is a tough guy, and I tried to melt his heart previously. All I got was, but something just called me to connect with him, just to talk to. I just needed it for myself. So I walked up to him, and he doesn't speak English. So I got Maggie's collar, and I walked right up to him, and I think he was a little surprised, and I showed him the collar, and I went like this, and he just stopped, and he looked at me with those piercing blue eyes, and he took the cigarette out of his right hand, put it in his left hand, and put his arm around me and held me for like a full minute.
Whoa.
And I just cried. And then we just looked at each other and then just parted. And I haven't seen him since. But
Wow.
that really reoriented my internal system completely. That was just so beautiful.
That is very beautiful, and it's during that time where everything's suspended and different, and it allowed him to. Maggie opened his heart too, and I just love that you felt guided to do that, and he left that day being changed. And I find it interesting that you have not, seen him since. Do you still walk like you did? Such a beautiful story it is.
Thank you. I do walk, but I don't walk in the same area because it's still too hard for me to see my co-pet parents. And the one thing that I noticed is how different people treat you when you're by yourself versus walking your dog. I didn't notice it until afterwards. It's like when you have a dog, there's like a community. And you just, even if you just nod each other, each other's dogs, but when you're by yourself, people just kind of walk past you. So it's been a little hard to walk in my neighborhood, so I walk other places. That's probably why I haven't seen them.
Mm-hmm. So didn't we also talk about how to express yourself, that's one of the things that she was learning, and that expression, and you articulate so beautifully and write so beautifully. Why do you think the two of you track together in that way, as far as being kind of shyer or not sharing all of yourself? And how did she change you to where you are now? What do you do now differently than you did before?
Yeah. So I think I have Maggie in my heart all the time, and that gives me the comfort and the confidence actually to speak and share and express. And in our session, you talked about how, because she must have been about 4 or 5 when I got her, that she wasn't allowed to express before I got her, and so we taught each other. And I think what we taught each other is that real communication isn't in words; it's from the heart.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
So
animals just that. Like they say humans make it so difficult. It's energy, and it's an energy exchange. Oh, Deanna's wanting to know: did you always write, or did
no,
that?
that was no. Thank you. I've always wanted to write. Okay, I'm getting hits. Yeah.
Oh, and Pandapi says, "Who are you, Monica? You're such an angel on earth, and so is Maggie." I mean, she, for being, having to learn how to express herself, she said she expresses herself through her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think the gentleman, the gruff guy, connected in that way, through the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling us, you kept mentioning his piercing blue eyes. So it definitely helps us understand that you don't need words to communicate at all. And, animal communication in itself is energetic. All of you all who have animals and beloved babies are already communicating. You're in communion with.
Could I add something about eyes?
Yeah.
It's coming to me. So I've been working because I've been seeing a grief counselor, and they were talking about how eyes can, because she says, when you get really activated and you're kind of dysregulated emotionally, like move away from your eyes and into your body because eyes could scan for danger. But I love what you're saying because it's our choice whether we use our eyes to emit and communicate love or we're looking at it from what's missing, what's wrong. And I think that's kind of what I was trying to explain before. It was like my scanning for danger eyes, my human personality just went on ice, and my eyes that could see, that it could express, that it could love, like opened up. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to choose now is use my eyes to communicate and see love rather than what's missing, what hurts, what's scary. So thank you for putting that. I hadn't put that two and two together.
Well, you're welcome. And if you think about it, during COVID, when we all had masks, what was the only thing we could communicate with but our eyes? And
Right.
so, did you, during that time, smile at people? Did you have smiling eyes? Or did you see eyes that were vacant? Or as Sonia Choquette would say, drive-by eyes, like they just aren't even there? What did you notice during that time? Oh, I think I lost you. Oh, no. Hopefully she'll come back on. Debbie says, yes, the eyes. I connected with my cat Chico that has passed by his gorgeous eyes. I love that. There you are. You popped
Sorry.
up. I mean, that's all right. We're like, where'd you go? So yeah, did you notice during that time of COVID how people's eyes looked?
Yeah.
How did they look? I mean, what did you see?
I mean, I think people were looking for connection, you know,
Mm,
so,
mhm.
yeah.
Definitely. So, you were when you signed up and you had written something, I just find it's funny because sometimes we feel so isolated in our grief, especially when it's with an animal, and we think people are going to think it's strange that we're A, grieving them so deeply, but B, we want to keep that connection. And I think you had put you didn't want to be shamed or thought of as weird for wanting to keep a connection with her. I feel like Maggie's a big part of my spiritual journey, and I highly believe in the unseen. I want to not lose the lessons, the development and growth that Maggie brought me and continues to bring me. That's so beautiful. We don't want to lose the lessons. And I think in our session, you had asked me, how do I hold on to this? If I let go of it, then I won't have that same kind of feeling that I did during that 3 weeks. But also, do you feel like you've embodied what you experienced in that 3 weeks now and you're taking it with you?
Yes, absolutely. I think, being with you in this community and communities like this and all the lovely people I've met may help me realize that physical loss isn't total loss. And she's still here. I grew up in a just power through kind of household. It's
Mhm.
done, don't look back. And I really learned that love is continuous. It never ends. And so it's kind of unnecessary to think that that was then, this is now. And so now she's just in me in a different way. And it will continue forever. And I just love and just appreciate you, Tami, for giving permission and space to know that connection continues and just honoring that with such grace. It's so lovely. I appreciate you and the community.
Oh, you're welcome. It's so important because, you know, we we're taught that, oh, they're gone, and everybody has this idea that we're completely cut off, and we are so not. We're the ones that cut ourselves off. But as you have leaned into the grief journey, then you've been able to, it's like the treasure hunt of gifts that you've gathered with you now that you take forward, and that you know your eyes might meet somebody else's today. All of you, your eyes might meet somebody, and when they do, and it's funny because Maggie was like, "You got to use the eyes and look them directly in the eyes."
Mm-hmm.
She's all about that. So I want to give you all. Oh, Maggie was such a lucky little girl to have you as a mom. Absolutely. I want to do a couple or give you some like tools because I always like to give you things to take with you in your life and just some little practices. So if I think I've got Alex, if you can put that up, the practices or one of the practices, and we can maybe do this together, and they're like 3 tiny practices for the first 3 weeks. But in reality, you can use them anytime. So yes, thank you. So this is what I would call the 30-second heart touch. It's really easy to do, and it's really quite soothing. And you can do it any time a day, several times a day, but place one hand on your heart and another on your abdomen, your solar plexus area, and take one slow breath. And then whisper, I'm here, I love you, I'm still connected. And tell me how that feels in your body. Does it feel comforting? Does it feel warm? Does your body relax when you do that? How did that feel to you, Monica?
Wonderful, very grounding.
Mm-hmm.
My mantra is wherever I go, we go.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And that would be a perfect mantra to say right here. Wherever you go, we go. Is that no? Wherever I go, you go. What'd you say?
Wherever I go, we go.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So how did this land with you all? Did you do it when we were very simple? And it's these, I would call them, they're tiny practices, but they're heart glimpses. They allow you to actually feel your heart in a very practical kind of loving way that we all need. It's like comforting ourselves. And so practice number 2, this is, you would like this because you're a writer. So once a day, write one sentence. And I can give you another prompt answering, what did I notice today that felt like love or connection? Think about that for a minute. And I don't know where you all are in your day, but what have you noticed today that felt like love and connection? We have to look for it. We have to want to see it. So I know it's early where you are, and you've already had 3 meetings ahead of this, but have you noticed yet any love and connection?
No, absolutely. I wake up every day and the first thing I do is talk to Maggie. So she grounds me and I see the sun, and I don't know. Now it's not in words. It's there though.
Mm. You've crossed the threshold into the it's like shape shifting into the same space she is, and it's a new space and it's a very fluid space, but we have to like be intentional about wanting to connect in the way. And even though we, people say, how do you do it? How do I connect? Well, just assume you can, because you can. You just assume it. You close your eyes and you connect, and you can really feel them in your heart so that you know they're there. So what would practice 3 be? So don't forget the 1 sentence journal. This is also another favorite of mine. 60-second sanctuary pause. So again, I love the word sanctuary too. That's just a soothing word to begin with. Close your eyes for 1 minute and drop your shoulders. And then imagine your pet beside you. What are they doing? They're sitting, lying down, touching noses. What's going on? What do you see with your heart's eye? How does your body feel? How does your nervous system feel? And tell your nervous system, tell your body, tell your sweet spirit, the relationship hasn't ended. It's literally evolving every single day. They haven't left us, and they're helping us throughout our journey. And I think that's what you have discovered too, that she is still helping you.
Every day.
Yeah. Isla is beside me, Marge says, looks at me and sighs. What else? That's beautiful. What else are you seeing when you close your eyes and you call your pet from your heart and feel them, because I want you to feel them. I don't want you to think them there. How does your body feel? And if you put that in the chat, it would be really, really helpful for everybody, actually. So of all the takeaways, Monica, that you've had from this incredible soul journey with Maggie, what's the one thing you would want her to know?
That I want
important.
That I want Maggie to know.
Mm-hmm.
That I finally get it. That I finally get that infinite eternal love that she always brought.
Mm. And what are you going to, she's wanting to know, and how are you going to use that in the world to do good?
I think it has really opened my heart to people who are in grief, particularly around pet loss or any kind of loss, and to really be with them. We're all in this together, and there's nothing more healing than a loving presence, a loving witness. And if I can do that for myself and for others, I want to do that, because that luminous is still right there. If we want, we open our heart, it's just available for us, calling us. So never forget.
Yeah, and it's important that we acknowledge the gifts they shared and then take them out in the world. You know, that's their legacy. And really, we have been blessed with our animals with so many gifts that we are the holder of their history. So what would they want us to do, and how would they want us to be? And she is very, very pleased, especially that the two of you are continuing on your journey, she says. She's amazing. I am so appreciative for you being here, and everybody's on these practices, like the number 3. Diane said, surrounded by my 3 guys, and I feel pure love. Everybody seems like they felt something during that. And see, those are really simple. You know, those are not difficult to remember. And Elena, yes, I saw him look at me with his loving eyes and come cuddle me all, and felt his warmth in my heart. Beautiful. And because you can say that, we can feel it as well, because you see that. So thank you for being here. You are such a gift, and you and Maggie are a powerhouse soul team.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody. I'm glad you're here. And I'm doing, I forgot to tell you, on Friday, I've got a little event I'm doing for an hour. And I'm introducing kind of a community kind of concept. But if you want to sign up, it's free, and we'll hang out. I'll share some teaching probably, and then you can ask me questions and we can just talk. Let's have a conversation. So I really, really hope to see you there. It just feels like an invitation to gather for us. So beyond that, I have another one going on December 19th. I'll do the same thing, only that'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern time, whereas the one on Friday the 5th is at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So come for one, come for both. You'll get a replay, and I can't wait to connect and see what we create next. All right, you guys have a really good week, and I will